Hey, LeBron probably took that sign because it's like, hey, shit, I just hit my billionaire status shit. I ain't finna fuck mine up. Shit, they got me fucked up. Fuck Kyrie. I need me.
You are now listening to
The Really Joe podcast. Really Joe. Really.
All right, so we got my little brother. So yeah, hey, we got my brother Dorian with me today. All right, so we're gonna talk about Kanye and Kyrie. So first, hold on. First thing is when I think of this topic, right? This is what comes to mind. When Bob McNair said we can't have the inmates running the prison, this was him saying this because people were protesting back in what, 2018? So, by taking a knee, for the anthem. So Bob McNair also later apologized for the comment in a statement, but he recently told the Wall Street Journal that he doesn't think he did anything wrong and his only regret was apologizing. The main thing I regret, this is quote, the main thing I regret is apologizing. That's what comes to mind when I think of this whole situation. You can't let the inmates run the prison. And it's kind of like, how like, I don't know, how familiar you are with the prison system, right? But in the prison system, if you have somebody there, like Big Meech, if they feel like he has too much influence, they isolate him because they feel like they have too much influence. You probably knew that, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So to me, this is what this is. You have two. Well, you have what was a billionaire and a multi-millionaire, and they have influence on the culture. And it's like, no, you can't do this. That's what, to me, that's what it boils down to. No matter what Kanye said, no matter what Kyrie said, they don't want them to have their influence on everybody else. And those people, kind of wisen up and kind of see what's going on. Because I'm gonna be honest, in my personal opinion, I don't agree with Kanye with the whole George Floyd thing, but that's his opinion. He's entitled to that. Fine, it's already been handled anyway, But outside of that, they ain't say nothing. Well, Kanye didn't say nothing but the obvious. I mean, let's just be real. With Kyrie, he didn't even say anything.
Facts.
He's just sharing some, maybe trying to enlighten somebody on, on some maybe previous history. I don't know what the movie's about. I'm not into movies, but yeah, he's trying to enlighten somebody. How do you penalize somebody for that?
Facts.
But what's your take on it?
I think you're right. I think that it is a ploy to make sure that too many people don't come together on this same situation because Kanye, he's hit and miss with his information or what he want to do. And that was, to me, was a ploy for him to get out of his contract with Adidas. And but it ended up hurting him more than it helped him, I think, for now. I don't know what he's going to do in the future if he's able to do anything. But yeah, Kanye, he's been on point with a lot of stuff too. So, uh, but when Kyrie came out and posted the link, which was just to, in my opinion, was to solidify what Kanye had said about the
About being Jewish?
by being blacks being Jewish. I think that was just a link for people to look at and to inform themselves. So, but he kind of got took down through the mud because of it. So they don't want, just like you said, they don't want to. They don't want us. Excuse me. Let me rephrase that. They don't want anyone to buck the system. Put it like that.
Yeah. So why, in your opinion, why would you think Kanye wants to get out of his contract with Adidas?
From the information that I saw, it was a bad contract from the beginning because he doesn't even really own those shoes that he's making with Adidas, and it was just a bad deal from the beginning. So you got to figure, you can't just say, forget it, I'm out. You know what I mean? You gotta, because he had said a lot of stuff before that, before he started talking about the Jews and what they're doing, and what did nothing happen until he made those comments. And then Adidas backed out, Gap backed out, you know. So, yeah.
Okay, so we both looked up the definition of anti-Semitic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's basically being prejudiced against Jewish people, right?
Right.
So from what Kanye said, I didn't see any prejudice.
You didn't see any prejudice
No,
with what he said.
no. I mean, and what I mean when I say that is, a prejudice is somebody that doesn't like you just because of your ethnic background. The only
Right.
thing he said was they stick together. They run Hollywood. They run the music industry. They work together. They all are going to eat off of an artist. I mean, if that's a fact, it's a fact. Like, he's not, I mean, I'm sure if they were Asian, he would probably say, hey, they all stick together. They all run the music industry, the entertainment industry. I don't think there's any hatred toward them because they're Jewish and they're doing it. I think he's just stating they all run it.
Well, what you gonna call it when somebody tells the truth on you? You don't want to be told. I mean, what are you gonna call that?
Well, I mean, it happens to us every day, right?
Hey, you're right about that. But when you dealing with uh, a class of people who I can't say runs the world, but they run the world. I mean,
Who run the world? Jewish people or what? I'm just saying. I'm just trying to get some clarity. I'm just trying to get clarity.
um, I ain't gonna say a class of people. I'm gonna just say the powers that be.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. So you feel like the whole Kyrie thing is mainly because of Kanye. So basically, Kanye got out of line to in somebody's eyes, the powers that be.
Right.
Right. So now once Kyrie comes and piggybacks off of it and it's like, yeah, he right. Now it's like, okay, we got to put a stop to this before we get any further.
You got to nip this in the bud. Because
Yeah,
what
right.
happens to a fire that gets a little flame, gets a little air, a little oxygen to it, it starts spreading. Like,
Right.
man, we can't do that.
So, all right. So look, it's regular everyday people that's already up to date, up to speed on all this stuff that not Kyrie, but Kanye was talking about, right?
Right.
And they're somewhere preaching it every day.
Right.
Do you think to the powers that be, it's falling on deaf ears because they're not at that level?
Exactly. Exactly. You don't have the following. The main thing is Kanye is paid to entertain. Kyrie is paid to entertain. For you to speak on some stuff that's not entertaining, you out of line. So, you know, that's what most of the, black people are paid to do. That's artists, there's music in the music business, in the movie industry, on basketball court, football field. They all paid to entertain. You step outside that box, you got to be uh,
Realigned.
you got to be put you got to be fall back in line.
Right. All right, so look. So I see some people are upset with LeBron.
Oh man, yeah.
I kind of, like I say, I be busy sometimes. So I kind of miss what LeBron said. But I did see something where somebody shared on like Facebook or something where they was like, he doesn't condone any type of hate speech or something like that, right?
Right. And he said that, excuse me, that what Kyrie done was harmful. So he said that it was harmful. And, I mean, just by making a post, like how is that harmful? You
Okay. So we both in agreement that more than likely Kyrie shared the movie, book, whatever, trying to enlighten people.
Mm-hmm.
And LeBron turns around and says that's harmful. Okay,
Yeah.
so all right, so sometimes I feel like I understand LeBron because he's passive aggressive and I'm passive aggressive, so sometimes I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think what he's saying is it could cause harm to like those players, like the NBA players, the black NBA players? Because he can't be talking about the world in itself, right?
Well, really, LeBron, just like KD, Kevin Durant, he was trying to stay neutral. Both of them trying to stay neutral because they don't really want to be in it. But them being a part of the NBA, which Kyrie is a part of, they kind of dragged into it. So they making comments to try to stay neutral. But you have to say something, just like the reporters who's talking to Kyrie. Kyrie is trying not to be so direct in what he says, but he just standing on what he believes. But the reporters that's asking him questions trying to make him say stuff that's really more direct than what he's putting out there.
Yeah. Do you think the Nets owner is just tired of Kyrie and his antics?
Definitely tired. I mean, who wants to go to work and then they have an issue? Because this is not Kyrie's first issue. He had the COVID thing, and then he had an issue before that. So this is like 3 strikes you out, buddy. You know.
Yeah.
So that's got a lot to do with his suspension and the other penalties that was placed on him.
Yeah, it's a lot of people that say they lost respect for LeBron. Uh, they don't really care for LeBron. They call him all types of Uncle Toms and all that, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad because, that's especially the younger generation, that's their GOAT,
Right. Right.
And it's like, do you feel like he should have just avoided the question and just not said anything?
No, he wasn't gonna be able to do that. That's just like you take Marshawn Lynch, for instance. You don't talk to the reporters, you're gonna get fined. You know what I mean? So he has to. But I do feel like that the only thing that went wrong in the Kyrie situation was nobody standing behind him. Nobody standing with him, except for, like I stated to you before, that is Jay Williams. From what I've seen, is Jay Williams and Jason Whitlock, which was surprising. But you know, you can't really stand on what you believe without any support.
I'm pretty sure one person that's in agreement with Kyrie is gonna be Kanye, but I don't know, man. I just hate I really I agree with a lot of stuff that well, not a lot of stuff. I agree with some of the things Kanye say, right? But one thing he said, I watched some of that Drink Champs interview,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, look what gets promoted to our people. Negativity, violence, all that. You know, he was like, just look at YouTube for an example. He was like, how often does something positive show up in the algorithm?
It doesn't.
You know, the first
Very rarely. Very rarely does anything pop up uh, positive in the news. That's why I don't watch it. It's no news if it's not bad news or something controversial. That's really what gets all the views. It gets all the attention. Is something that's controversial or negative. So regardless of what demographic puts it out there, it's gonna get attention from everybody.
yeah. And then not to mention, Kanye was spot on when he said, when it comes to music, all they want to talk about is, having sex with somebody girl and shooting somebody, you know. He didn't say nothing wrong there.
Yeah, and I seen an interview with 21 Savage where he said he wanted to put out different content, but his record label wouldn't allow him to. And that's another thing. Like with record labels, most of the record labels are ran by people that don't look like us. So they control the narrative. You know what I mean? They control what gets put out, you know? So, and most of the people that owner of a basketball team, they don't look like us. So they control the narrative. Most of the people that own football teams, well, all of the ones that own football teams, they don't look like us. So it control the narrative.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of crazy because I thought about this too. Like, we as people, people of color, man, we go through stuff like this every day where we get stereotyped. You run into people who don't like you just because of the color of your skin.
Right.
Nobody runs to bat for us. Nobody really. I mean, of course there's some people, but if you look at us as a country, nobody really fights those. For us. So with that being said, as soon as Kyrie make his tweet, the owner of the Nets, what was it, the same day, next day? Oh, I disagree, or some disagreeing with the tweet, right? And I was thinking, I wonder what he said when the Caucasian kid went to that store and went and shot all them black people. I wonder if he made a tweet then.
Well, let's go back to what you said. Nobody comes to our aid. You can't expect somebody to come to our aid if we're not standing up for ourselves. I mean, that's why I was saying, before, is if somebody stood with Kyrie, if enough people stood with him, then this would not be an issue. It would be an issue, but the issue would be totally different. You know what I mean? But you have people who looks like Kyrie who's not on his side. I mean, a lot of them. So, if we can't support our own, but this is how I feel really, that the reason why they didn't support him is because of the paycheck that they get. You know what I mean? Nobody want to mess with their money. Just like I think it was Charles Barkley that said, "I'm paying you $40 million, and you gonna go out there and say something about my race?" He ain't said nothing about it. He just posted a link. Like, why are y'all trying to say this man did this and did that? He didn't. But that's how it goes. I'm paying you a lot of money to do what I tell you to do. So
that's what it boils down to.
right. So I'm paying you to entertain me, and that's it. I mean, period, point blank. I mean, I didn't really want to go there, but I mean, that's just the facts.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and it's no different from somebody working your average 9 to 5, and
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying?
I'm
It's
paying
no
you to
different.
do a job. You know, I'm paying you $12 an hour to cook my food and hand it to me and have a smile on your face. You know,
Yeah,
so
and not to spit in it.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. And see, you're right. You're right. Like I agree with you. It's just sad, man. Well, it's not sad. It's our reality. And I'm not saying anybody should come to our aid, right? But I just hate how people turn the blind eye to things that happen to the black community, you know. But let it offend anybody else, like then they quick to jump on it, like that's crazy to me. And keep in mind, we do it ourselves amongst each other.
yeah.
But
But
it's just like, what were you about to say?
no, but well, I was just gonna say that they want you to believe that it doesn't exist. To me, this is one thing that I said too about this Kyrie situation. This is in the Kanye situation. This is the first time that I've seen that it's blatantly obvious that they trying to cover up some stuff. You know what I mean? To me, it's blatant that is that and obvious that this is a cover up, that they don't want you to see something, or that's just my personal opinion, and a lot of people not gonna see it that way, but I do. I think this is the first time that it's been obvious that they trying to cover up. Like what's so bad about a link? Like people post links to stuff all the time, but what's so bad about this link that it's got people in an uproar? You know what I mean? Like you talk about they saying that Kanye saying that Jews were originally black. So I mean, if you look it up, they were part part of the Jews were black. So what's so wrong with telling the truth? Because I mean, after you hear what they're saying, you have a tendency to go back and research, and that's another thing. So that's you gonna educate yourself if you look at the book or the movie that Kyrie posted. And that's not what they want to happen, in my opinion. So if you don't want something to happen, then you're gonna try your whatever you gotta do, you're gonna do whatever you have to do to make sure that it doesn't happen. So I mean,
And
this is a
see,
blatant attack on Kyrie and Kanye West to silence them,
yeah,
in my personal opinion.
yeah, yeah. And it's kind of like, hey, don't wake us up. Don't wake us up, because if we wake up, we might see the systematic problems that a lot of people see. Now, I would probably say it's more people that don't see the systematic setup, to keep us at a lower level. Let me say that.
Definitely. I mean, you can see it if you just go to the impoverished neighborhoods. You can see it when if you just look, because I've said this to a number of people. There's no Chick-fil-A's in the impoverished neighborhood. There's no Starbucks. There's no places of business that you can patronize that looks nice. Well, I can't say that it doesn't that looks nice, but that other demographic groups would consider to be better, than some of the other um, places of business that's not as of a higher tier. That's what I say. Like Church's Chicken versus um, I would say Popeyes, but Popeyes, you can see them in a impoverished neighborhood sometimes. But you get what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like you got a a, a Chick-fil-A. You know what I mean? A Chick-fil-A and a church's chicken. They not on, to a lot of people, it's not on the same level. You know what I mean? You got a McDonald's in the impoverished neighborhoods. You have Burger King. You also have a liquor store. Oh, look, they have most neighborhoods that aren't impoverished. You don't see dollar stores. You know what I mean? You don't see discount stores in a lot of the areas that's not impoverished. You know what I mean? They want that you only see the same thing. You see like fast food restaurants, you see gas stations, beauty supplies, and liquor stores. That's what you see. And you go into a convenience store and they got much of the same stuff in it. Like I walked into one and every chip that I saw was a hot chip. Like everyone. I'm like, you got hot Fritos, hot Cheetos, you got hot Funyuns,
Doritos.
hot Doritos. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. And a few years ago, I seen where they had some policemen had decorated a tree with Newports, Black and Mild packages, and things that would resonate with people of color. You know what I'm saying? So that was a direct attack on that group of people. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's systemic racism is very much so alive. And but people don't want to say that. You know what I mean? And I saw another a video of a football player. He was kicking around on the field having a tantrum. It appeared to be he was having a tantrum. So, and a guy had commented and said that why other people, and he started naming names, why they didn't say nothing when they done it. And then another guy was like, he was a person that wasn't of color. And he said that it's funny how people always want to play the race card, but you don't live the life of that person. So you don't know how it feels and you don't know what it looks like. So how can you speak on something that you've never been a part of? I mean, that's
Yeah.
just how I feel about it. You know what I mean? How can you speak on something that you've never been, that you've never experienced?
Let me tell you what's in those neighborhoods, in those really nice neighborhoods. Banks. It's always banks. When I lived in Little Rock off Cantrell, I was looking for a dollar store one day. And I was like, it's none around here. But it's plenty banks. It was plenty of them. And I guess I kind of realized it once I looked for one day. And I'm like, dang, I gotta go all the way to Reservoir, you know what I'm saying, right in the Parham to go to the dollar store. But over here off Cantrell, it's nothing but banks and Kroger. It's like sheesh. But you're right, man. About the systematic thing. I had to tell a teacher that, a principal that. She tried to tell me, oh, I don't think it's a race thing. I'm like, how do you know? Like I live this. You know what I'm saying? You don't. You don't have anybody treating you a certain way because you're white. Like, come on now. You don't know what that's like to be, you know, on our side of things. And I even told her, I'm like, man, I know what it's like to be the only black person in the room and everybody stare at you funny. Like I know what it's like to go to a little country, predominantly white town, and everywhere you go, people just stare at you. I know what it's like to be stereotyped, lied on, all that. You know what I'm saying? Just because you look a certain way, you dress a certain way, or for somebody to call you, to think they know what type of person you are by how you dress. I've been there. You know what I mean? And she was like, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. This, that, and the other. And it's like, let's not do that. You know what I mean? But Yeah. And see, I think it's a lot of people that's not woke, you know. They're not woke enough to realize what's really going on out here in this world. And if they were, they wouldn't entertain so many things that they entertain. They wouldn't go spend frivolous money on clothes and shoes because they cost a lot of money. You know, like if the rap community was woke, they wouldn't go to Icebox in Atlanta and go spend $100,000 on some jewelry, $200,000 on some jewelry of lab created diamonds. You know, like, and yeah, I think to sum it up, they don't. In order for those people, the powers that be, to keep thriving, they need for us to stay asleep because we make them money. Like even Kyrie Irving.
Well, I mean, I think you're right. We have a lot of people who aren't conscious about what's going on around us, but we do have a lot of people that are, but don't do anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to sit around the house and talk about it, you know, what's going on around you, but you got to come together, and start taking action on these things. You know what I mean? So, just like you said, I mean, if we stop supporting a lot of this stuff, you know what I mean, then and supporting the people that's look like us, then we'll be a lot better off. And in my personal opinion, I feel like we're the only demographic group that doesn't. You know what I mean? We don't really support our own. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's warranted. I can say that. You know what I mean? Because uh, you might have a black-owned business who doesn't dot his I's and cross his T's, and we're stickler for that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Customer service, and but you know we got to make sure that we do what we're supposed to do, in order to get better, become better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and see, I had a talk with some people the other night, and I was like, man, I've been said to other people, we're our biggest enemies, right?
Right.
And it's mainly because we'll go and spend $400 on a belt. Let's just say Gucci belt, Hermes, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But we'll go spend a bunch of money on going to buy a Benz, and let's just say you make 40,000 a year,
Yeah.
you know. But instead of doing that, why not just get you a belt? It doesn't matter, like why not just get you a car that can get you where you need to go? It doesn't matter, you know. All cars do the same thing at some point, which is break down. Why, it shouldn't matter, you know what I mean? But the money that you could save from not trying to make yourself look rich, you invest that into yourself or your community or your kids, which is, kind of like your community. But we don't think like that, you know.
That's a
We
whole new topic.
yeah, we gotta look rich. We gotta look like we're the powers that be. But at the end of the day, we make the powers that be richer, you know.
Well, I could say too that it's a lot more people become a lot more of us that's coming more wise of what's going on and what needs to be done. You know what I mean? Like um how to invest your money because I mean, truth be told, we haven't been taught that a lot. Growing up in the homes that we come from, a lot of us. I
Yeah.
can't speak for every family because some of them do, but a lot for the majority I believe that we weren't taught that growing up what to do with your money when you get it. You know what I mean? Regardless of how much money you make, But once you reach a certain age, that's no longer an excuse. You know what I mean? Especially not now in this day and age. You know what I
Not with
mean?
the internet.
Not with the internet, you know. So we got to educate ourselves and then try to catch up. You know what I mean? So with what's going on, with what other demographics they been on. You know what I mean? So, but it's hard to reverse something that's been embedded in us forever. You know what I mean? But I can say I have seen a lot of change in that area, though. You know, it's a lot of us that's been um, trying to improve themselves. You know what I'm saying? So I have to give them credit, or so.
So look,
Yeah.
just like you were saying, a lot of people don't do anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I got some people that really follow the work that I put out, right?
Right.
And they tell me a lot of, they tell me from time to time, like, hey, man, you're doing a good job, man. Keep it going. We need this.
Mm-hmm.
So one way you can start, anybody can start, is by sharing this video in my podcast.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, man, because look, man, we got to wake up, man. It's like,
Yeah.
you hold on. I don't want to take this into another conversation. But
It's
sometimes,
headed in that direction. Go ahead.
huh?
That's nothing. Go ahead.
Oh, man, what you say, man?
No, I just said it's headed in that direction.
Yeah, yeah, all right. But look, sometimes, man, and I'm not saying this trying to be disrespectful toward anybody, right? But sometimes I hate being in a group and it's like I'm the only person that's a little woke. I'm not saying I'm all the way woke, but I hate being that person that's a little bit woke. And like the other people, that I might be having a conversation with, it's like they don't know or they don't see it. Or they do see it, but they still entertain it. And it's like that's part of the cycle. you know. So yeah, so that's my goal here is to wake us up, wake us up, wake us adults up to be better, and especially the younger generation, that's just graduating or about to graduate. Before you fall into the trap or get to making certain mistakes in life, man, it's like don't do it. Like take it from my personal experience. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Or someone else's personal experience.
Yeah.
But man, we just gonna go ahead and wrap this up before we go into some other conversation. But you got any final words, before you sign off?
Oh, no, I think like I said, if I say anything else, we're probably gonna go into another conversation. But go ahead.
All right, cool. Well, look, I appreciate you, Dorian, for joining me, especially on short notice. And till next time, people, we out.